Hi there, folks. I'm making this video today. We're the 16th of March, and there are these events which are starting to crop up, which are very important, and we see the signs. There are many signs of the apocalypse coming, and these are the preparations, like the messengers of the apocalypse. You know, there are 4 horsemen of the apocalypse which come. Now, there are some things which show that the time has come for this apocalypse, because, among other, there's a prophecy in the Bible which says that there will be a 3rd temple which will be built in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount. And that's very important for Christians and for Jewish people too. So Jewish and Christian tradition come together for that. And there's a group which is called the Temple Institute, which has set up, they have a hall or some kind of, they rent some kind of a place at the bottom of the Temple Mount, because the Temple Mount has been given to the Muslims, and so they're not allowed to do anything up on top of the Temple Mount. And so they have a place where they have groups come and they talk to groups, they show them videos, and they sell them books. They've made a replica of the temple, of the 3rd temple, or the project which they'd like to do of building this 3rd temple of Solomon on the Temple Mount. But what they've done now is they've made not a replica, they've made a real altar, which will be the altar for this 3rd temple. And so this is a group which says that they will make the 3rd temple. They're saying, like, nobody else is going to do it, so we're going to do it. They're not waiting for somebody to like God to come down from heaven to accomplish some miracle. They say, we're going to build this temple ourselves. And so that group has announced that the altar is ready, and it's ready to, it's assemble ready. So if they get the green light, the go ahead, then they can just disassemble the altar. It's in several parts, and so they can bring it up to the Temple Mount in an hour and assemble it in an hour. They can do it immediately, and it's ready. It's already assembled, and so to disassemble it, take it up there, and then reassemble it will take just an hour. And they say that the fact that this is just the altar, that the fact that that they consider that the temple will be built and it'll be operational once the altar is installed, because they say that during 700 years or something after the 2nd temple was destroyed, the Muslims who had invaded Jerusalem, they authorized and they tolerated for the Jews to continue worshiping on the Temple Mount, but they did not allow a real temple. They just had to be using like a makeshift temple, so that they had an altar there, which is what they want to do, put back an altar, which the Israeli government is not allowing right now. So they want to put the altar up there, and then just put a makeshift temple around that, because they're saying that's what was there for 700 years after the destruction of the 2nd temple. So they say, we'll just put the altar up there and then make a makeshift temple around that. Like you can just put up a temple made out of wood or something, or plastic or whatever. You could have one of these plastic houses, which they're these prefabricated houses. They can just fly it in with a helicopter, put it on top of the altar, and then you have a nice plastic temple. And then which is immediately operational. In 1 hour, it's operational. take the altar up there, put this plastic hall, you know, like for events, and then and it's ready. You can start your first prayer after 1 hour, maybe after 55 minutes. And then they say building the temple is secondary. I mean, they can start building the walls. You know, they can build the walls in 50 days. They can put a crew up there and get a construction crew up there and build a big temple in 50 days. That's easy. They say as soon as the altar is there, it's done. Like there's a Chinese company which specializes in building high rises, like 50-story high rises in a record time. They can make a high rise which is about 50 stories high in something like crazy in 50 hours or something. So they work around the clock, 24 hours, and they have and it's already assembled. So the whole building has been assembled in the factory. And so they just drive the trucks in and then put it up, and in like 50 hours, you get this 50-story building is there. I mean, you get a Chinese company to build the third temple on the Temple Mount, and the Chinese company can do that in in 3 days flat. So there's this pressure. What I'm saying is there's this pressure. Now of course, you got to think about what is happening right now. Why is this pressure coming? It's because there are the elections in Israel, which are going to be tomorrow. I'm talking Monday. It's going to be tomorrow on Tuesday. And so there's a lot of pressure from religious groups, and the Muslims are wondering who is going to be the next prime minister, because the Temple Mount is the big problem. For the Muslims, it's a big problem. For the Jews, the question is to know if it's the tipping point. If this is the tipping point where the Jews build their third temple, then that means that they're just kicking the Muslims out. The Muslims have been kicked out of Israel, then they get kicked out of the Temple Mount. Like this is the revenge after the 7-day war back in 1960, because after the 7-day or the 3-day war, the Jews didn't want problems with the Muslims because the Muslims had been kicked out of Israel. So they said, okay, well, you can keep the Temple Mount and we'll take Israel. We'll take Israel and you keep the Temple Mount. But now the Jews are just so fed up with the Muslims. Muslims are just saying, hey, we want to blow up Israel and kill all the Jews. And the Jews are just so fed up. So they're saying, okay, there's only one way. We've got to take the Temple Mount and realize the prophecy, and that'll be the Apocalypse, and that'll be it, because it's enough. It's enough with the Muslims now. The Muslims are making problems everywhere, every country. There's no country in the world where the Muslims aren't killing people. The Muslims have just gone crazy. So that's happening tomorrow with the elections in Israel, because now the Muslims are wondering what's going to happen. And the world is also, and if the Jews build this third temple of Solomon, then that's a signal for the Christians. And the Christians go berserk. They say, hey, this is the Apocalypse, because that's the realization of the Apocalypse. And that is what the Bible prophesied, that there would be the third temple. And that's also linked in with the Antichrist and the coming of the Messiah. You know, this is all linked. This is the same thing. So Obama is definitely the Antichrist, because on the day after his election in Chicago, which is his hometown, the lottery drew 666, which is the number of the Apocalypse. So that was really marking Obama, because the lottery was in his hometown, and it was the next day after his election, and he was celebrating his victory. So definitely Obama is the Antichrist. Now, Obama has a judge in Texas who is called Judge Hanen, or Hanen. His name is Hanen, Judge Hanen. He has slapped an injunction on Obama's amnesty, and he says it's illegal. And he said also Obama amnestied 100,000 illegal aliens before the date of the amnesty, before the decree. So he did it illegally. So he's told Obama's lawyers to come and explain to him what's going on with these 100,000 illegals. So Obama is now in court. On that's going to happen on the 19th of March. So we have the elections in Israel, and then Obama is in court on the 19th. So Obama will be declared, like the judge is going to say, hey, you know, you guys are lawless. She's going to call Obama an outlaw. And that's one thing. Then there's also elections in France on Sunday, which they say that the right-wing party is going to become #1 party, and they're anti-Muslim. They're an anti-Muslim party. So we see that there are all these things which are lining up, which look just like the horsemen of the apocalypse, because they're all pointing towards revealing the Obama as the Antichrist and bringing the signs of the apocalypse, like the third temple of Solomon is the sign of the apocalypse. And so we're going into this very narrow window where all the signs are coming together. And we can see the pressure on Obama from this judge. And behind that judge, there are other things. There are other things which are even heavier for Obama. For example, Obama, on the 26th of March, he has asked another court, which is the Fifth Circuit in New Orleans, to rule a stay on Judge Hanen's ban of the amnesty. So he wants another court to appeal what Judge Hanen has done. And they say that these other judges, they are right-wing. They were nominated by George Bush, and they are anti-amnesty. So they say that Obama's going to be, he's going to be rebuffed by that other court, and that's on March 26th. So it looks like the future is bleak for Obama. He's not going to make it. This is not going to work. And the day of last judgment for him is just this week now with the elections in Israel. And then we have Judge Hanen is going to get these lawyers together, and he's going to ask them to explain, hey, why did you do this illegal amnesty of the aliens? And then we have a right-wing party, which is like going to win in France, and it's going to spread all over Europe. The French right-wing party is the biggest right-wing party in the whole of Europe. Because in Germany there's no right-wing party, and because they have their Nazi past. And in England they have a right-wing party which is similar to the French one, but the French one is the bigger one because and also it's in the mainland Europe. You know, England is always a little bit outside of Europe. So all the right-wing parties of Europe, they look to France. So I'm just giving you this news that things are speeding up. It's happening now. I'm the only one in the world who's bringing this news about Obama having this 666 curse from the lottery upon him. And that's very relevant because 666 is the mark of the beast which the Antichrist will force upon people's foreheads and hands. And so I'm saying that because it was in the lottery, it means money. People imagine a lot of different things. It's a RFID chip. No, it's not an RFID chip. It's money. And so we have to repeal everything Obama has done. Start by repealing his amnesty and then repeal Obamacare. Repeal everything he's done. Get the guy in jail. Arrest him for a fake identity, no birth certificate and everything. And he has to be in front of the courts. Courts have to take themselves of Obama and all the crimes and illegal things which he's done. So I say that Obama is the Antichrist, and his 666 mark of the beast is the money which he's spending, and he's bankrupting the USA. So that's my message for today, people. Bye-bye.